Hi guys, and welcome back to the Once You're In podcast, episode 25. But I keep saying that we're not going to do that, but I feel like I have to say it. It feels like it's just part of the intro.
You've only got one intro, mate. That's what it is.
Maybe I'll stop it. But yeah, how's things, mate?
Sound. Another week, another podcast. I mean, we've not had any excuses so far from either of us, so that's a positive at least. And to be fair, everything seems to be in a good spot. We had a session Monday, didn't we? We had a push session. That went quite well. Since then, we haven't trained. As usual, been kidnapped by Sanaya, so no changes there. I think we're training tomorrow, aren't we? And then Saturday, which will be quite a good welcomed addition. We've got stiff leg deadlifts. First time I'm going to be doing them in 2 weeks. I deloaded over the last week, which I could talk about. I think I might have mentioned on the live podcast. I deloaded. I took 4 days worth of complete rest off. Fatigue was kind of creeping in, but if I'm honest, it was one of those that was kind of like it was definitely needed, and I wouldn't have been able to kind of make it to Christmas without burning out. But training was in a good spot, but I thought pulling back made a slight bit of sense at the moment, and it was a good decision because this week I feel a lot fresher mentally, and yeah, normal kind of things, just slowly getting fatter. Trained in a tank top yesterday and thought,
slowly,
now, definitely getting fat. That's
not,
for sure.
Not slowly.
No, not slowly. Instantly getting fat. My face is just huge. I was 104.9 kilos this morning, which is absurd. I shouldn't be that heavy. So, yeah, it's like 232 pounds, I think, if I'm guessing. I don't really know exactly, but yeah, maybe more. Maybe it's like 238, 237. I'm fucking fat now, mate.
What, 105 kilos?
Yeah. I'll get it up.
About 233.
Yeah, that's what I said. That was what I thought it was.
Yeah.
105.2.2, So 231 pounds, guys. Absolutely, I'm just huge right now. I'm just too big. That's what it is.
I'm chasing down 300 pounds.
Yeah, road to 300 pounds, guys. I was going to say I'm coached by somebody. That's nice. I was going to say I'm coached by somebody who keeps saying "food up, bro, food up," but I can't say that person's name.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not coached by anybody, but the person I was alluding to was basically a guy who's bulked for about 6 months too long, and then he's pushed food up again even more. So yeah, it's not Finn, by the way, for people listening. Even though I think that could apply.
Sliding, but I'm about.
So yeah, all good here, mate. All good here.
Come on.
What about yourself, mate? Anything to report? Anything to tell the listeners? I mean, mate, we've got to say thank you to all the people who have tagged us in stories.
Spotify, what's it called?
That's quite cool.
Spotify Wrapped or Warped? What is it?
Wrapped.
Is it?
Wrapped. I thought, yeah.
Thank you to everybody. It's pretty cool. The first one I saw, I was like, what the fuck? Like, people, obviously we know people listen because people ask questions and people say like, oh, when's the podcast back? But when you see it like that, like, especially when we were up next to like the Muscle Mentors or J3 University, or there was one of my clients sent me today. It was like Joe Rogan, something else, and then us. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, obviously,
why aren't we first?
I know.
Why are we not beating Joe Rogan?
I said we're coming for that first place.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is pretty cool. So appreciate everybody that does listen. And that's just on Spotify as well. So it'd be good to see on YouTube if they did something like that. I know, I feel like we do have more listeners to Spotify than we do watchers on YouTube. Yeah. I feel like that's normal for a podcast because it is an audio format, isn't it? People don't really want to see our faces. Don't blame them.
Unfortunately.
But no, it's been a decent week for me. I don't think there's much to update on, to be honest. Other than training's going well, feeling good. Got my left leg being worked on at the minute. It's just a bit of an issue. Like it is like my calf, but it's almost like the outside of my leg. But it's not really a massive problem. Like I can still train and just manipulate things around it. Otherwise, everything's good. I feel like this is how it should be though. Like I don't feel like there's anything. Yeah. There shouldn't be any issues really. It should just be eating, training, sleeping, feeling good, eating a lot of food.
Doing the do. Doing the do
and growing, bro.
Yeah. Got to making the improvements, guys. That's what we're doing. You know, we're just hustling in silence. We don't need to be telling everybody what we're doing.
That's why we're
just doing it. Yeah, exactly. We just come onto the podcast just to chat shit about and tell us how good we are. Like literally, Finn, you
talk about ourselves for 48 minutes.
Mate, you've had such a good week. You know, just based off your check-in yesterday, you've just had such a good week, Finn. Honestly, mate, like I'm so happy with how things are coming along. Like just making such insane progress at this point.
Right, I don't need to
No,
check
no,
in,
you
mate.
wouldn't.
It's been that much of a good week. Don't need to check in.
I haven't checked in once after the show, mate.
I know, and
Like,
that's why
the
you've
last time I've
turned
just
into a
fallen
fat
off.
mess. You just binged.
105
checking in
kilos.
with your coach.
I'm just fat as anything at this point. Fucking hell. Right. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. I will say I saw one person. I'm going back to what you mentioned. 1,222 minutes. Mental that to listen to us talk for that long. But I mean,
Who was
1,222 minutes.
Who was that? You put his name. Was it like Douglas something?
Yeah, I don't know if that was Douglas. I don't. It might have been. I saw someone else, Jesse Oldenburg, one of my clients. He listened to like 1,100 minutes, and I was like, "Wow, it's a lot of minutes." That
cool, isn't it?
when you think about it, but
yeah,
no, it is
like,
cool.
When we say, people obviously say like, if someone saw us, because obviously we're so famous, like they'll be like, "Oh my god, no, I'm joking." They'll say hello, and we're like, "Who's that?" But we always are like, "Hey, mate." But it's like if I don't really listen to that many podcasts. But if I did, like, to be fair, like, obviously I used to listen to AJ's podcast a lot. So when I saw AJ, I'd be like, "Hey, mate." And like when I went up and spoke to him when I met him, like, it's cool that people say hello and stuff and people know who we are, even though we don't. But it's almost like Perrin sent me a thing today. The photo of the podcast thing said, yes, it's normal to feel like your favorite podcast host is part of your family. That's what it said on Spotify, like under the wrapped thing. He sent me that, and I was like, "That's pretty cool." Like, people feel like comfortable with us and chat to us, and like, obviously when we get questions, like, people will come up who I've never even seen or never heard of, but you can tell they listen to the podcast regularly because they'll ask a question about something we spoke about or something. So I think it's pretty cool.
How was it when we were like, mate, at the shows? I had my mum was like, when she was like, "Go on, Reece," and like people were like, "You're Reece's mum," and they're like, "Oh, I listened." Like she said to me, like 10 people were like, "Oh, what, Reece and Finn?" That was the first thing they said, and they were like, "Oh, we listened to the podcast or something." And my mum was like, "Yeah, that's my son. That's Reece," and stuff like that.
Proud of you.
It's pretty.
So proud
it is pretty mental. No,
Right.
so proud. She only said that in the first show, and then I took second in the next two, and she was like, she didn't shout. She was like, "Who's that fucking loser? Not winning."
Stop shouting.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, to be fair, mate, you
screaming Jack.
Yeah, you competed once and finished third. So. Yeah, you competed once and finished third. So I mean, I'm surprised Shannon even stayed to the end.
My mum wasn't.
Well, to be fair, you probably just got on stage. They looked at all the natties and they were like, "Oh, these guys are fucking shit. Get them off." Like, no chance of watching this. That's what it was.
Better
They were just like, "Oh, Sam, right, you
show, mate." In the grand,
yeah, definitely for my
natty
class,
shows,
100%. Yeah,
across the board, the natty shows are a better standard. Like, I don't mean obviously the high level. Like, they're not.
It depends on what. Yeah, it depends on what you mean by, like, I'd say condition-wise, yeah, but it really depends. Like, it's one of those.
If you chose one PCA show to go to, or, well, it doesn't even have to be PCA.
Yeah.
PCA or FitX or something like that, and you chose like a UKDFBA or a BMBF show, you'd probably be more impressed by especially not just because they're natties, but you'd be more impressed by across the scale, I reckon. Let's imagine there was 10, like, you just had watched one class and there was 10 athletes in both. I'd argue that majority of the 10 of the natties would be decent, whereas you'd have like 2 or 3 fucking really good guys in the PCA and the rest will be pretty shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'd agree. I think there's the discrepancy between people. Like, it's quite clear when, like, for example, when I competed, I think even at the finals, you knew instantly, like, okay, them two are second, like first and second. Yeah, then it's like a toss up for a few, and then there's like a few that were like.
Some of the other classes were close than that, but still, like.
Yeah, no.
I think especially in bodybuilding.
I think that's bodybuilding in general, though. Yeah, I think maybe because there's a lesser kind of skill level in general for like the natties, because it's literally just kind of none of them are massive, so it's almost like, right, it's just a condition kind of game, relative to obviously size. I'm not saying it's not. There's obviously size is going to kind of prevail in a lot of areas, but I'd say condition is always more impressive with the naturals because it's usually a sense of like fullness will usually correlate to kind of not the condition you need to be bringing. So it's where I would argue that there's probably less a kind of skill level because it's more so you're in the same kind of pool of individuals where with enhanced federations, there's more of a likelihood, and then you also get the weapons who jump on Anavar and test for 6 weeks prior to a show, diet for 8 weeks, and they think they're going to be ready and they look awful. You know, it's one of them.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like
I said, I think you
you'll
could
get the odd
probably
one.
go to 5 different shows. Yeah,
But I do think
I'd say.
if there was, like someone who'd never been to a bodybuilding show before, if you were like, right, this is one, this is another, these guys are enhanced, these guys are naturals, I feel like they'd be like, oh, like, especially some of the guys in the natural like scene are fucking ridiculously good. I feel like it's rarer that you find, especially
it depends. Are you lining them up against? Are you lining them up against each other though? Because that's also going to play a factor.
No.
Yeah, if you have them separated, 100%, because again, the skill level, they're probably all in a fairly similar spot. But if you were to look at them and they were standing next to each other, I think it would be more aware. You'd be like, okay, they're the ones who, naturally in comparison.
I don't know.
That's not to say to discredit anything though. And like I said, I just think it's more so like the individuals and kind of what you look for. Like I've said to you before, I have full admiration. I mean, I trained 9 years. Not like that's more years than a lot of people have already trained without taking anything. And it's like I looked at the natural scene and I was like, for physique especially, physique is the one I look for. So I'm going to be more critical towards physique. Where I think in bodybuilding, I completely agree. I actually quite like the natural bodybuilding scene. I prefer it a lot more to the natural physique scene personally, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But that's my thought process and it's my opinions. Because I just think if you're going off like, I'm not going to say like the physique kind of muscular groups, but in reality, like delts, having 3D delts, having like a full chest, having your arms popping. I'm not saying that's not achievable naturally, but in bodybuilding, it's not as kind of focused upon, and it's more so condition and then size relative to that condition. Do you get what I mean? So when I look at physique, I look and think, well, the physique guys are so much fuller across their delts, their arms, their chest, and the enhanced scene. So I more so would cater towards that from my own viewpoint.
Yeah, I think a good way to look at it would be look at the guys like right at the top of the game. So I completely agree. Like I would favour the enhanced physique guys 100%. Whereas when it comes to bodybuilding, although it's cool looking at the freaks, I'd much rather...
Yeah, I prefer
the look of
the
natural guys. Yeah, I've always said I find it really, really cool. That you could be walking down the street in a hoodie and no one would really know you train, but you could be the best natural bodybuilder there is. Like I find that pretty cool. Like even obviously they will look relatively big, but not anything like if you saw Big Ramy. Like, I think that's cool.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people
I feel like it's so unimaginable to even think about Big Ramy. Like to think like you can't sympathise being 320 pounds. You can't be like where you can look at a natural bodybuilder and think I could probably look like that. You know,
well,
like, you know what I mean. Like you could look at it and almost be like, I could.
When you look at like Mark Hector, because obviously like we've seen him when we've been training, and obviously he went through posing with me and stuff. Like, obviously he looks mint and he's massive. But Big Ramy obviously makes him look small. Like not horrendously, especially not through the upper body, but Big Ramy makes everybody look small, doesn't he? Imagine that. Fucking must be in person. He must be ridiculous. He must be massive in person.
Yeah. He must be even bigger in person. Like you, mate. You're so much bigger in person.
You know Alex, my client that I went through posing with yesterday at Warehouse.
Yeah.
I obviously posed after I finished training and he was there. So I was like, oh, can you just take some photos? And then he posed and we went through everything. And he was like, yeah, you definitely, you are bigger in person. You're bigger than I thought you'd be. And I laughed. Like I wasn't obviously laughing at him, but it made me laugh because obviously we just take the piss out of people saying that.
Well, to be fair, mate, I went to, I told you, didn't I, that I was seeing Sanaya's dad. Like I went to meet her family. Her brother came up. Her brother literally was like, fucking hell, mate, you're so much bigger than you look on Instagram. And I was like, cheers, mate. I was like, I'm fat. And he was like, no, you're massive. And I was like, no, I'm actually fat. Like, yeah, I'm not.
I bet you were loving that,
bro. No, yeah, of course, mate. Definitely. I was loving it. So, yeah, that's that. Right. A little bit of a debate into bodybuilding, natural bodybuilding. That we came to a conclusion that we actually agree, which I'm slightly disappointed about. I thought we were getting into a debate there, mate. But instead, we just decided to
debate. I feel like most people would probably say the same. Like, don't get me wrong, the guys, like the top physique guys, like, obviously, Josh looks insane. I know he's not a top physique guy, but well, you could say he came third in the world, like at the WM.
Yeah, I know.
Josh literally like is ridiculously good. I didn't expect him to be that good when I
Yes.
saw him at the WMBF. He was like, I was literally like, fucking hell. He was really, really good. So like that look is mint. Like, and he obviously only came third. But again, I'm on the same page as you. If I was a physique guy, I would be like, oh, I really like that look of the top physique guys. But then they are just getting bigger now. So if you're wanting to be a physique guy for the sake of not being as big as bodybuilding,
probably.
it's getting.
Yeah, I think I could have kind of specialized. Like when I say top physique guys, I actually mean the physique image, not just the classic bodybuilders and board shorts. So, because that's literally how it is, unfortunately, nowadays. Or it will be. By the time, like, if I'm honest, by the time that I'll be knocking on that door, thinking like, oh, I'm probably close to that level I want to be, it will literally be even bigger than it is now, which is not. Yeah, no, like in reality, like 3 years from now, it's only going to be, like it will literally just be bigger dudes. Yeah. Which is a bit of a shame.
Unless they change it.
That's why I'm getting fat. That's why
they change something.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Exactly. Right. So we had a few questions, guys. Yeah, we had a few questions. We got a few more than we anticipated. Not last week, because we actually didn't get as many as we anticipated, but we've got a fair few today. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the ones that we didn't answer, and then we're going to answer a few today of the ones we answered that were sent through today, and then basically we're going to see if we need to do a questions box next week. But if not, we will just.
Why are you talking to people in such a patronising tone? As if they're.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, mate. Well, I'm not too sure what to really reply to that. So let's just get into the questions. Do you want to go first?
It's very relaxed. Like, right, guys. So this is what we're doing. Like they're all fucking idiots.
Yeah, because I didn't want to. I didn't want to just be like, yeah, guys, we're getting questions.
We're doing some from last week that we didn't get to. Then we'll do the new ones.
Yeah. But then we might not be doing a question box next week. And what happens if people are sat there refreshing our Instagram stories on Thursday thinking, where the fuck's the question box? Where the fuck's the question box?
Yeah, to be fair.
Yeah, they see we post one, and they're like, I missed the fucking questions.
Warned everyone. To be fair, we might still do one. We could just keep doing one every week and then just keep working backwards. And then we know we've always got a pool of questions to answer. Rather than hoping that people ask questions, because sometimes we get like 3 each and we're like, so what should we talk about? Yeah. Right, I got a question.
Yeah,
go on.
No, the joke's dead, mate. Carry on.
Joke's gone. So
I can't say it now. No, you fucking carry on. Just go, mate. Speak.
I got a question from a guy called Chris Owen, and he actually sent me 4 boxes. Again, this is from last week. And he sent me a video of his movements. So he sent me a stiff leg versus a deadlift. I don't think I should go over it because we can't show the videos. I mean, I probably could if I got my...
But firstly, I thought you were going to say, I'm not going to go over it because he's not my client. And unfortunately, mate, I only go through form feedback and video analysis if you were to sign up.
You're going to have to sign up, mate.
In bio.
No, he's going to have to sign up.
So sorry, mate.
To be fair, we should start doing that. We should start doing... rate my lift. No, I reckon I'll just get back to him. He put been working up my stiff leg deadlift. Yeah, to be fair, we do that all day, so it would get a bit long. It's now as strong as my conventional. Is it normal? So is it normal for a stiff leg to be as strong as a conventional? Yes, if you've been doing the stiff leg for a while and you're getting better at it. Wondering if I'm going wrong with my conventional technique. I'll have a look at your video and I'll get back to you. Then he's told me that he's DM'd it, and then he says thanks in advance. So I appreciate the question, mate, but because we're more an audio format, I'll get back to you individually.
And it's already been a week and you haven't got back to him. Bell end.
Sorry, mate. Also,
there we go.
I will be sending you a PayPal link as well.
Yeah, of course. We need to kind of specialise what one bit of form feedback is worth, and then we need to send that over. Literally, we should lock the message, or just send it over and put if you want to lock this message, please donate below. And then we go from there. Good. Right, I got a question by Macca. Reece. I'm not too sure. His name's Macaulay. He's coached by Tom, so Evolution Training, and he's a physique guy. And he asked, "Why is it you think men's physique guys are still Like still, like why are we still, like we've been fighting an uphill battle for years? Why are we still looked down upon? So Finn, why am I looked down upon, mate? Why are you looking down on me? Come on, tell me. Why do you look down on me, bro?
I don't think it is looked down on. I think it maybe is from. I think it's more so like a jokey concept. Like people will joke about men's physique guys and be like, "Oh yeah, like look at those guys in the board shorts." I think that's more of like a bit of a traditional like banter, if you like, in the bodybuilding scene. I don't think that people actually are against or look down on physique. Maybe older guys do, but I mean, that's just a generational thing. Like it's because it was new, and anything that's new, people are scared of, and they take the piss out of it. I think nowadays, if anything, it's probably more favourable. Like people favour it more so than bodybuilding, and it's probably more. It's definitely more aesthetic or more aesthetically pleasing to most people. So I think that's maybe a bit of a old school outlook on it, and then that's just trickled down through generations. So like people now still take the piss or still think of it as like a lesser sport, or people will say you're not a bodybuilder because they do men's physique. But then it's like, well,
it's men's bikini, bro.
Depends what you class as bodybuilding, isn't it, as well? You could go down that whole debate. But no, I don't think that's true, to be honest. I think it's getting really popular, and I think a lot of people are actually favouring it. And I think it's probably, well, over time, it might overtake bodybuilding, like Classic is probably going to and already is doing. So, yeah, I think it's just how you maybe perceive it. And also, I feel like if you were in it, you'll think that more because that's normal. Like if I was a men's physique guy, I'd probably be like, why is everyone against men's physique? But we're not. Like, obviously, I'm not speaking for everybody else, but I don't think people are. I think it's just a bit of like a joke.
Yeah.
Men's physique is a joke.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, complete joke. It's not even worth competing. I mean, yeah, I think it's, like you said, it's definitely the most like visually appealing. I think there's also probably maybe some hostility because if you think about it from like how easy it is to get in, I feel like, as we said at the start when we were talking about like the natural versus enhancing, there's so many, and there's so many shit bodybuilders, if I'm honest, and there's a lot of shit classic guys. Classic's probably the worst for the people that they train for a bit of time and they're like, oh, I'm classic, bro, and it's like your shape is not classic at all. You're not classic. You're just a small bodybuilder, and you're not physique. So like, therefore, I'm classic because you're small. No, but I think like men's physique is one of those where it's like a lot of individuals, if you train for a bit of time, you can almost kind of not bullshit it, but it's the easiest. The entry gap is the lowest because you don't have to be as big as what, let's say, the classic or the physique or the bodybuilding open guys are. So I feel like there's probably a little bit towards that. And as well, like as you mentioned, the visual aspect, a lot of individuals probably, like if you're going off like females, the average female would, I'd happen to guess, look at a physique guy and say, that's more attractive than what, like an open bodybuilder would be. And that might play a role where there might be not some level of envy, but some thoughts towards kind of the visual look, and think if they don't look like that and then they're hiding their legs, it's almost like, oh, they're not training legs. And there's just a few kind of things that you can throw a few, like you can definitely understand why there is a bit of a stick towards men's physique, but I definitely think it's almost where if you're in the circle, you are probably a little bit against it. I don't really ever think about it like that. If someone was to say to me, oh, why do you do men's physique? I'd be like, because I'm suited for it and I like the look. Like, I don't really think too much of it. If someone was to say, oh, you're like, like I wouldn't really think too much of it into it. Like, I've never once thought, oh, men's physique is so looked down.
No, it's not. Like, I don't think it's lesser than bodybuilding.
No, I don't.
I don't think, and I don't think people think that. I think, like you say, if people do think that, it's probably on their own insecurities, if anything.
Yeah,
it is very.
I'd almost say maybe it's because they're.
It's seen as
I'd say maybe it's because they're driven or
posy, and it's more pretty.
Yeah.
So people will then take the piss out of that because they're like, "Oh, I'm a hardcore bodybuilder." It's like, well, realistically, it's not that different. You're still stepping on stage and posing. Like the only difference is, they have their quads covered, or the quads and hamstrings covered. Not that much different, and it's maybe obviously the pose is different, but in the grand scheme of things, it is still the same sport. Really, it's just a different variation of it. So it is just an old school thought process, I think.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. To be fair, mate, I'd agree. Right, your question.
This is from Oren, one of my old clients. Thanks for sacking me, Oren. We'll make that a regular thing.
Yeah. Has he sacked you twice? He sacked you twice or just once?
Just once, I think.
I thought you restarted and sacked. If he sacked you twice, that's like, come on, mate. Let's make it a third. Restart.
No, mate. That's Owen. That's Owen's.
Okay, fair enough. Well, mate, Sabby hasn't asked me a question.
You are?
Yeah, because Sabby, if it was Sabby, it's like Sabby hasn't asked me a question. He's currently being coached by me. So Sabby, if you're listening,
he's not sacked you already for the 7th time.
I know, mate. Is it for the 4th, 5th? The thing is, Sabby, I love you, mate. I'm only joking, but he'll see that and he'll be like,
he slates you for sacking him all the time.
Yeah, no, doesn't.
Right.
He'll sack me now.
He said, bad anxiety over hacks normal. Fuck me, I nearly had a breakdown over it yesterday. So actually, this is quite good because I can relate this to Leo. So Leo messaged me yesterday, and it was actually after the leg press, but he's had it the same after a hack. And this is actually quite cool because he was sat on the leg press, or sat next to the leg press, or maybe on the leg press after his set. And he just messaged me saying, sat on the leg press contemplating my life. And I just messaged him back saying, good. Because generally that's a good sign that he's probably had a good set beforehand. Because usually, if you're sat there thinking, fucking hell, like it's been a good set. But yeah, the week before he was struggling in terms of getting his heart rate down and struggling on his breathing. So obviously we just spoke about working on that. But yeah, he said Cuba came and sat next to him because he trains at Ultraflex. So he said Cuba came and sat next to him and just spoke to him and said, do you want a spot? And he was like, I'm just waiting to get my heart rate down. And Cuba properly spoke to him about it and was like, did you take too much caffeine? And then he was just chatting to him about his breathing and his thought process and the next set and stuff like that. And I thought that was cool because he didn't have to do that. So that was nice. So yeah, Cuba, if you're listening, appreciate it.
Cuba, if you're listening, thanks for that, mate. Thanks for coaching.
I heard we were first on Cuba's Spotify Wrapped. I heard we were first. But no, I thought that was cool. But yeah, either way, it is normal. I think usually the reason that people have such anxiety going into sets is just because you want to do well. You want it so bad. But what you've got to do is channel that anxiety in a positive manner and think of it as a fight or flight response. And everybody we should be anxious. We should have that build up going into a set because that allows us to get our heart rate up and that allows us to be ready for the set, and our arousal levels need to be at a certain level to perform. But if you let those arousal levels get too high and you let your heart rate get too high and you almost psych yourself out of it, then that's when the performance drops off. So you need to be able to manage it. It is normal. You should have it, but you have to channel it in the right way, which comes down to things like making sure that you've got the right kind of music on and making sure that the specific movement you're going into, you're tailoring your arousal levels towards. So you might get insanely anxious.
100%.
You might get insanely anxious for like a hack, which if you can attack it, then it's good to get anxious because you can just get after it, and that anxiety and that build up you can really release in the set. But let's say you're getting insanely anxious for, I don't know, something like let's say like a dumbbell.
Let's say a stiff leg deadlift because that takes
a stiff leg or a dumbbell RDL or something that requires more skill that's not as stable and not as locked in. Then if you can attack it still, then great. But more often than not, you'll probably need to approach it a little bit calmer. But yeah, it's normal. You should be anxious. You just need to channel it in the right way to still perform and get after the set. And I was saying this to Leo. I was like, what if you make sure that you set something up safely, which is often the issue for people, and the reason that people struggle to take something to failure is because they're unsure whether they can fail safely. So if you make sure that when you're warming up, you assess if you can fail the hack safely, then that takes that worry away. So if you fail completely, you're not going to get hurt. People do that on a leg press all the time. They're panicking or they...
So how did we used to get amped up for the leg press?
Huh?
How did we used to get amped up for the leg? How did we used to get switched on for the leg press with concrete slabs and sandbags on top of it?
Well, we've just been
like, if you think about it, like...
Yeah, but that's different.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
I'm not speaking to us. Like,
No.
I'm speaking to people who might get worried about failing a leg press. Like a lot of the time, people struggle in terms of being anxious for a set because they're worried about failing. Like for us, that's just not the norm.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, it is. But I think a lot of people get so anxious because they're worried about failing. So remember that that's fine, and as long as you can do it safely, that's the goal, really. And then once you've done that,
I absolutely love
attack the set and just do as best you can.
Yeah. Anything that scares me, I'm like, yeah.
You are, yeah.
Anything
Exactly.
that scares me, I'm like, bring it.
It should do.
I love it. Like, I love the sets where I'm like, it's the one part. I think I said it on the podcast to you. I've said it in person. The one part like kind of made me not fall out of love with training, but like when you're battered back, like in a prep, you don't enjoy the sets that are like physically demanding. And I've said to you during the lockdown, there's going to be parts where we're, let's say 10 years, 15 years from this point, we're going to be battered, we're going to be injured. And like the thought of going in on a set and getting like goosebumps and you're thinking, fucking hell, like this is it, like I'm ready to go. There's going to be a day where I won't be able to do that on a certain movement because of an injury or because I'm too old or whatever it's going to be. And that'll be a really fucking sad day, because like the thought the enjoyment I get before a hack or before a stiff leg deadlift or before a leg press, and you're like, right, it's time to bring it. There's nothing better when you know you can just switch on and get after it. But the problem is like a lot of times you're doing it on movements that might not be suited, or you might not have the level of confidence, and it takes a lot of time to build up towards. So yeah, I'll reiterate. I'm not going to like reiterate exactly what Finn's points are, but like personally, the sets that scare me and give me that arousal level that I need, they're the ones I enjoy. But that's because I've trained for long enough to know when I can bring it and when I can't. So
yeah. It is just managing it. Like he literally asked, "Is it normal?" Like, yes, 100%. It's completely 100%. Normal.
Yeah,
it's how you control.
I take the positives. Yeah, the positives that you actually can. Not many people even like. It's interesting because there'll be people like, let's say how we're talking, where we can be like, oh, I love that feeling. There'll be people that kind of are in a similar spot, and then there'll be people that don't even get that. And we probably, maybe not people listening to this, but they might not even get anxious because they don't even place the pressure on themselves because they don't even really subconsciously care that much. So the fact that you're anxious, I'd take that as a positive. If it's clear that you care and you're placing that pressure on you, and I'd be thinking, well, now you just need to kind of ride off that and actually utilize that in, as Finn mentioned, in a positive kind of factor to move forward, because not many people would even like get that. If I was to be like, get really anxious for a top set of a leg press, some people would be like, it's just a leg press, bro, what you on about, you know?
Yeah.
But other people would be completely understandable, you know? So yeah, plenty of positives to take. We had one here. Hope you're both well. What are both your plans for the next shows? So thanks. We're both well, as mentioned at the start of the podcast.
Thank you.
We're both all good. Doing the do. Grinding in silence. # hardest worker in the room. Let's get it. And I think, Finn, you're 2023, aren't you? Like, that's what your goals are.
Yeah.
So how many weeks out are you, bro?
I'm about... depending on the first show 86? That I do. Huh?
86 weeks? 86 weeks? Like, that'd be around that point, I'm guessing?
Well, the shows have just finished, haven't they? So that'd be 2 years would be, 104 weeks. So take maybe 12 to 16 weeks off that. So yeah, around high 80s, 90 weeks, I guess.
86 weeks, 16 weeks from 102, 104 around that point. 86, 90 weeks,
Do properly when obviously the show dates come out for 2023, then I'll get a plan in place. Looking forward to it though, but I've got a lot of things I need to get sorted before that. Yeah,
no, that makes sense. Myself, it depends really. If I make the improvements that I need to make, potentially next year. My last year as a junior. But if I'm honest, I'm probably leaning towards 2023 as well. At the end of the day, next time I compete, I want to be pretty much touching on a pro card level physique. Is that going to be possible in 6 months, 7 months of a gaining phase? Probably not. But we'll see. If I'm honest, if I get the itch and everything's in a good spot and I've made the improvements I need to make, then I'll step on stage next year. However, I don't want to just kind of go into it thinking, I just want to win a few junior shows, because, well, I did that in the first show, and then like it would be where I would want to have 5 to 6 shows lined up, and they'd all be 2 bro shows, and it would be where I'd be going for a bro card. So is that going to occur next year? Probably not. So it would probably be the year after, but we'll see. We'll literally see how the next 4 months, 5 months, 6 months go, how I am mentally. If I'm in a good spot, like visually, then like, because mentally I'm in a good spot. It's not where I like mentally. I need to sort my mental health out post-prep. Everything's in a great position right now, but I need it to be even better. So yeah, we'll see. 2022, 2023. It'll definitely be 2023 as a minute. Like it's not going to be where I'll be pushing it any longer because I don't think I'm that far off. If I'm honest, I probably just need about 5 to 6 kilos onto my current frame to be undeniable. So yeah, to be undeniable, I need to be a little bit bigger. So work needs to be done. Like I said, but yeah, to be undeniable. So yeah, to be undeniable, I need time. And unfortunately, I was going to say time waits for no man and do that cringy fucking saying that I've seen people say.
Hey,
time waits for no man.
All of these are cringy sayings. Be undeniable. Speak it into existence. Time waits for no man.
Yeah, they're fucking shocking. I just hate every one of them. So that's why we've stopped the you want it. Like you just gotta want it because that was becoming literally one of them. So yeah. So that's that. Your question, mate?
This is from Tom Taylor from last week still. So he asked us,
E.T.
Tom and Tristan versus Perrin and Jack. Team Fit versus... Well, you said Team Fit again, mate. People don't know your name's Team R Fit, do they? Team Fit versus Team
I've got a logo coming as well, mate.
Huh?
I've got a logo that's been designed. You know, by the guy that... Yeah, Cam. He's done Tim's and he does JP.
Cam? Yeah, he works for CMP, mate.
Oh yeah, that's mint. Yeah, he's done my logo, so it should be done in the next couple of days. And the R is highlighted in red, so hopefully people can see it's Team R Fit.
Has it got you on it? Is it a silhouette of your physique?
Yes, it looks mint because my side delts are good. Yeah, of course. That's the only things he does.
Literally, the only thing everybody does nowadays. It's everybody's logo now. Well, not your physique, it's their own physique. Yeah. Tom and Tristan versus Perrin and Jack. Who's winning?
Tristan's got the best physique out of them all.
You think?
But then, he definitely. Genetic-wise, it depends really, because you could argue the enhancements versus non-enhancements for, like I say, because it's 2-1. So unfortunately, it's not a fair playing field, really. But then Perrin's good. But yeah, Tristan's got the best physique out of them all, I'd say, personally. Especially if they were to compete against each other. But it's a quest of getting on stage. I like Jack's quads. I think Jack's got a lovely set of quads. Perrin's mint. And Tom Taylor's fucking big. Like he's 107 kilos at this point. I mean, it'll be good to see where Tom's in, like, let's say 6 months from now. And like, he'll be very, very, very impressive. So yeah, I wouldn't really know. And it would be good to see them all lined up. That's for sure. What's your thoughts, mate?
I've never seen Tristan in person, so I can't really comment. I know you. Yeah, obviously,
he's like a tanned Perrin. Yeah.
Obviously, he looks good.
Yeah,
he does look good, but obviously, without being able to see him in person and actually compare, it's very hard to say. But as well, I was saying this to Tom the other day. Like, it's almost impossible to compare Tom to like Jack, for example. Like Jack is obviously a lot smaller in height, but that makes him look a lot bigger and obviously like gives him a lot more overall sort of shape to his physique. Like, because Jack's short, I wouldn't call Jack stocky, but because he's short and he's quite big, he's going to look bigger.
How tall is he?
Than people that are taller than him. How tall is he?
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you, mate. Maybe 5'6". I'm not sure. I might be doing him a disjustice there.
Yeah.
He'll tell me if I am. I'd say maybe 5'6", but I might be wrong.
Any girl listens, Jack Buff, he's actually 5'8", 5'9". Just
Jack Buff's Mr. Jack,
making him seem
big Mr. Juicy Buff. That's what he's called, mate. Big Juicy Buff.
Oh, that's bad.
There's more to the story. I can tell you another time.
I don't want to know, unfortunately, mate. Sorry.
It's not much.
Like, yeah, fair enough. Right. We'll handle this afterwards. But yeah,
there's not much to say.
That's fine, mate. Yeah, they've all got nicknames for each other, haven't they? That's what it is. We need a nickname for each other, mate. Like, that's what it is.
Annoying
twat.
Twat.
Think of something like, yeah, maybe, or fat twat for you. But we'll leave that there.
Well, you have to make it
do we answer that question in detail?
Can't you make it about my personality instead?
Fair enough. Yeah, I could think of something, but I'll come back on the next podcast and hit you with it right out the gate.
Write loads down. Come up with that with a good one.
Yeah, literally. I'll just jot them down. I'll be like, right, this is what I'm going with. This is what I'm going with. And then you'll just say I'm a dickhead. And I'll be like, cheers, mate. Thanks for that. Right. Right, mate. I'm going into the next week's or this week's questions now. We'll do a few of those. GB Fitness, Joe GB Fitness, mate. He's only listened, Gulliver? He's only listened to one podcast.
I know.
He listened to the podcast last week. That was his first.
I know.
And I said to him, shocking, he needs to listen to more.
He told me, he messaged me.
He needs to get on. Oh, fair enough. Well, he's asked, worst moment of your training career? It's like football. I did my ACL, 2 years ago. I did my knee. I was on my way to pro. I just did my knee. So what's your worst moment of your training career, mate? What's occurred? When did you hit rock bottom?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I can't think of anything. Let me have a proper think. I don't think there is anything.
I'll say mine if you want. I mean, my knee injury. It sounds like I'm saying the football one. I did my knee. No, my patellar tendonitis was pretty bad because I couldn't train legs for a decent amount of time. So that was sad because I enjoyed training legs. But it wasn't that wasn't really a moment.
I was going to say that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, it was like 3 months.
It's not a moment didn't happen at once.
Yeah, where life just crumbled, and I was just like, this is the worst moment. And I don't think I've ever really thought that much into it. Like,
I don't think
I've never really thought
have a worst training moment.
This right here is the worst moment I've ever been in the gym.
I don't think you should even be thinking about it. Honestly, I don't have one. I've hurt myself and I've failed lifts and shit, but it's all part of it. It's part of learning. I wouldn't be like, this is the worst thing ever. Like, I'll just be like, it is what it is. Likewise, I wouldn't be like, what's your best ever training moment? I'd struggle with that. I'd be like,
mate, mine's my 180 flat bench for 2. Come on,
180
you know that
leg press hip thrust when your hips hit the bar.
Yeah, leg press hip thrust. Yeah. Oh wait, we're talking hip thrust, mate. We're not talking about my RDL. Come on, get it right. My glute drive. God. But
so we didn't really answer that.
So yeah,
I don't really go on. I guess if yours is your knee, then mine's obviously my back that's just played up for ages. But it's not. I still wouldn't even now. It's not a moment. The worst thing ever, or it's a bad moment. No. I know it, mate. The anomaly pre-workout, that was the worst moment we've ever had during our training career. But even then, it wasn't that bad, was it?
Well, mate, I had like 0% attendance to that 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. lecture because after every single lower session, I was absolutely battered, and I was like, I'm not going into uni after that.
It took me ages to eat my next meal. Yeah. I could never eat after that session.
Yeah, couldn't eat. We literally used to nail a scoop of this anomaly pre, which was it's banned now. I don't think you can get it. We used to jump on the matrix hack, give ourselves, as mentioned many times, like a set of 7 with 7 assisted reps. We'd fail on 0. And then we'd literally get around to like the leg extension afterwards, and we would just crawl there. And then afterwards, we just sit around and we'd be like, right, just still recovering for that first set, anxious as anything. You'd have the worst come down afterwards. It was awful, just a shocking experience. But yeah, that might be the worst moment. And that was self-induced. And the worst thing is we didn't even learn. We did it like 3 weeks on the trot.
Thought it was a good pre,
though. It'll be better.
We were like, never. We weren't. I don't think we blamed it on that. We were just like, fucking hell, these sessions are hard, and they were. But I think a lot of it was that we couldn't recover because of the pre. Right, my question.
Exactly.
Sam Massey, one of my clients. Do you both have a vague idea of where you want to be in 5 to 10 years' time, life and business?
That's quite a good question because I got asked any long-term business goals. So yeah, 5 to 10 years. I like the idea of a vague idea because I don't like the thought of having something like blueprinted and trying to project and talk it into existence. Yeah, and I dislike it because I just view it and think I like to wake up and think every day I'm just kind of doing what I need to do in that day, doing the do, but in legitimate kind of cases. And like that will actually get me to where I will get to, and that kind of end destination I don't have set in stone. So it might be completely different to where me and Finn are at currently. It might be in the same sort of line. With how the current projection is going, I'd imagine that 5 to 10 years is quite a challenging one, but I'd imagine shorter than that, 2 to 3, I'll be be in a very similar position coaching wise, in the sense of I'll still be coaching, but I'd imagine, as we said before, it will be just based off individuals that we're applying now, currently where we are, how we're almost building up a name. It'll be more prep focused clients and, let's say, higher level individuals. There might be potentially where we're coaching coaches, and that'll be something that we work towards, and it's not going to be the lesser kind of normal, not gem pop, because I wouldn't really say we work with like just gem pop people now. It's more so people that want to train, people that want to train hard, people that like how we are. And I'd imagine it's just more of the same. Like when it comes to training, I'd like to say like 3 to 5 years from now, I'm still going to be training in a similar spot. I hope to have more muscle. I hope to be stronger, but I wouldn't be setting my sights and saying, right, 10 years from now, I want to have a Tesla outside and this is what's going to occur, because I'd be thinking, well, we can blueprint anything, but so many things can change. And like it's been such a good transformation for both of us over the last like 2 years from where we were to where we are now, that like it would be impossible for us to say where we're going to be at. But I know that, for example, Finn's working fucking hard. I know I do. Like there's no doubts in my mind in that kind of situation. So more of the same, and let's see where I end up and see where Finn ends up. And I know it's going to be nothing but positive, really. So yeah,
I think that's like, for me, that's the best answer you can give, because especially if you're happy with where things are at. Like,
thanks.
No, but like, because I got this question from Ben, like when I was driving to Bath, Ben asked me it. It was like, where do you see your business in
driving to the Bath?
Driving to the Bath, yeah. When he was like, where do you see your business in the next 2 years? And I literally, I deleted the story because I was just laughing on it, like because me and Shannon were in the car. I wasn't obviously laughing at the question or anything, but I literally just said, I don't know. I was like, basically what I'm doing now, but just further along. And I was like, laughed about it. And I was like, well, that is literally true. Like, I want to just keep progressing as I have done, doing what I enjoy doing. Like, I was thinking this earlier. I was sat doing some form feedback after I'd gone through check-ins, and I was literally just thinking, like, how is this my job? Like, I don't actually feel like I work, even though I'm busy and I work all the time. I don't feel like I work. Like, this is work, but it doesn't feel like it's work. Like, it's weird. But yeah, obviously I've got other goals, but again, I don't see them as set in stone, like, you know, in terms of things with me and Shannon and things like that. But I don't see them as, they don't have to be done by certain dates. But I think ultimately, you know, sounds so cliche, but like the sky's the limit. Like, I just want to keep working hard, keep doing as best I can, keep progressing, keep learning, keep being better. I think that's all you can really ask for, like in whatever field you're in.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah,
no, spot on. It's funny. I literally said the exact same thing to Snar on the way back. We were talking about some things for her, and I was just like, just do it. Like, literally go for it and see how things go. If it doesn't work out, then so be it. You move on. If there's anything that I've learned,
piece of advice is literally just
like,
do it.
Yeah, you literally want to try everything, and if it sticks and you enjoy it, you won't even need to try, because it literally will be like, this is what you need to do. This is what you're doing. If you don't like it, you get out and you do something different, you know? And that's how, like, I've always been in any aspect. Like 13 months ago, I remember I was on holiday, and I'm repeating myself. I literally said this like an hour and a half ago, and I said, I was like, I was on holiday with my mum, and I was like, a year from now, I'm going to finish with uni, I'm going to graduate, and I don't know where I'm going to be. Like, coaching was in a good spot, but it wasn't like good enough to be like, right, I could do this full time for a long time. Like, this would be, I'm earning a bit more money than what an average person would be working a normal job. And like, not saying it's monetary, and it was more so time management with my uni, thinking, this is a lot of work I've got, like final year of uni. And I was thinking, God, like, I wonder where I'm going to be in a year from now. Because I was quite anxious, thinking a year from now, I'm not going to have to be like reporting to do something in September. It'll be literally, I'm done. What's the next plan? And like, my mum was like, well, how it goes, just literally see how it is, put everything into it every single day as you have been, and you'll see where you are. And like, by January, I remember, like, me and you had a really good few months up until December. We had a really good December last year. And then likewise, we were both like January, February, when it's lockdown, we were like, this is mint, like, this is really good. And then it's just kind of built from that. And like I said, I'm really excited to think where we're going to be, where I'm going to be, where you're going to be a year from now. And like, it's when you are putting in positive actions on a daily basis, you get positive outcomes. So there's no real doubts about kind of how the current situation is. But it is mint, because I do wake up and like, I've thought things where I'm like, this is sick that I get to tell people, do this in the gym, and you do it and you listen to me. It's quite a cool thought process. I like it, that's for sure. So yeah, that's that. that's that. Let's have a look. Ben.Mitch.fit. Do you think you would have benefited from a coach during your prep? Surely. Always more to learn. Well, yes, there's definitely more to learn, Ben. 100%. I feel like if I was to look at things, there's pros and cons. From a personal perspective, I wouldn't change really anything. If I'm being completely transparent, I don't think I would change really anything. If you were to put me at the start of prep and say, right, you know what you know, would you get a coach? I don't really think so. I think maybe for the last 4 to 6 weeks, when you're going to be quite challenged to like, let's say, be analytical over your physique, yeah, it could have been beneficial, but that's why I've got a good set of eyes in Finn who can kind of say, right, this is fucking stupid or this is spot on. And I think if I was to look at it, like, I wouldn't have done any better. I feel like, if I'm being completely honest, I probably haven't talked about it enough. The fact that I was pretty much as conditioned as I need to be, if not more conditioned for physique. It was the first time I've ever prepped, and likewise, I did quite well, and I was really happy with how things went. So yeah, I feel like to alleviate some stress 6 weeks out, maybe it would have been beneficial. But overall, the overall process, no, I'm massively beneficial, because I know I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about the process. I learned a lot during the whole process, to the point where if I was to do it again, I think it would be the same situation where I'd be like, right, Finn, 6 weeks out, 4 weeks out, I'll tell you how things are on a daily basis. What do you reckon? And it would most likely be the same for when you compete. What would you say? Like, there's always more to learn.
Yeah,
and there's definitely things
I
that we
think
could have optimized.
I think that's regardless of a prep or anything. There's always more to learn regardless. And I think the type of person that you are, and this isn't a dig at all, I think it would probably do you more harm than good having a coach in a lot of ways, because I think you would
I agree.
question everything that they say rather than just being like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, I think obviously even towards the end, when I was saying, obviously we'd have conversations about things, but if I said something, you would always still have your thought process was always the main one, obviously. And you would always make the decision, which is fine because it's your decision and it's your prep. But obviously if you had a coach, you can't do that, because that's not fair on the coach. There's no point hiring a coach if you're still going to do what you think is right, So I think if you're of that type of mindset, which there's nothing wrong with, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, because you're just confident in your own thought processes and you want to do you, which is absolutely fine. But I do think that you would have probably caused actually more stress for you.
Yeah,
I think
I agree.
For the majority of people, it probably wouldn't. But I think for maybe 10% of the population, 10% of people that compete, it's probably better off if you don't have a coach, because you're going to be questioning everything, overthinking things, when if you were to make your own decision, you've only got yourself to fall back on, and you've only got yourself to blame, if you like. So yeah, I don't think it would have done you. I'm not saying you wouldn't have learned. I think you can still learn, of course you can, but I don't think it would have massively benefited you, and it wouldn't have changed the result, like, either way.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, that's to basically say I wouldn't say I'm uncoachable. I don't really like that term, but I definitely would say that I have questions and issues. I know my body well enough at this point. I'm very confident in my own thought processes, and like I said, it's one of those where, like, I know how I am and how I would question everything, and it would have to be on like a 50-50 basis, and like I wouldn't want it any more than how it was with me and Finn. So if I've got Finn, why would I need anyone else? That's almost, I wouldn't need anyone else, mate. I just need you. So please don't ever, like, let's not ever not be friends, mate. Like, please stay as my friend. You're my only friend, please. No, she's gone downstairs, mate. Meal time. That's what it is.
Right.
Yeah. Got about 10 minutes.
Should we wrap it up? Because it's been about an hour, and
we can do one more question, 2 more questions if you want.
Okay. So right, you go. I'm going to leave it. I've got 7 more for next time.
Okay, what? Do you not want to go through any more? Do you want to just leave it there?
You do one, and then we'll leave it, because I need to get a meal in, and then I need to get to bed.
Okay. Sound. Let's have a read through.
I like it, trying to keep them like bang on an hour as well.
Okay, yeah, that's
remember the ones you haven't done.
Yeah. I feel bad. Finley, sorry, mate. Finley Roberts, or Finlay Roberts, but Finley Roberts. He's asked like 2 questions, and we'll get around to
next week. He's asked me a question.
Unfortunately, 3 questions and he's not got a single reply. Sorry, mate. Next week it is. Make sure to tune in Monday. This is from Tom.Luca. To be fair, I think actually I'm going to leave this one because it was, how did you both reach the point where you could make a living off online coaching? So do you feel like we've already kind of covered that in what we mentioned previously about the goals, or do you reckon we should almost kind of finish on that? Because I feel like that's quite a nice one to kind of touch upon.
Yeah,
it's almost what we talked about earlier. But
finish on that.
Yeah.
What? So when did we realise we were at a point where we could do it full time and earn from it?
No. How did you both reach the point? So I'm guessing he wants an exact timeline. So this is what you do. This is your first few months. This is your business plan. That's what he wants.
So from the start, I'm not going to make this too long, but even before I did my PT course, I was into training, obviously. I think you've got to have your own sort of love for it before anything. And then I would help out like friends and family and work colleagues and things like that. Just sort of with like programs. Looking back now, they wouldn't be horrendous. They'd still be like pointing them in the right direction. But compared to what I do now, I'd be
like 3 sets of 12. Was it stuff like that?
Yeah, but even more so like just how it had all be like set out in terms of how neat like my sort of, I think it would literally be on a Word document and it would just be, right, here's your nutrition.
Yeah, mine on PowerPoint, mate.
Yeah.
Like, PowerPoint. It would slide 1 and it would be like nutrition, slide 2 training plan.
Exactly.
It was shocking.
So like that was the start, and I didn't even think I literally would have never thought then that I would make, I didn't even question trying to earn money from it. And this is what we said before, when people come into the industry and they go, what?
Oh, I'm going to say the exact same thing. People come in and they don't do the basics.
Why are you trying to take my lines? Let me.
No, because
you don't need to wave at me.
People come in and try and emulate. No, because
I was going to say
I wanted to say
it first.
That's my part. That's my thoughts.
Yeah,
exactly.
People come into the industry and
steal it.
They try and start off coaching on 150 quid a month or something stupid when they've never had a client. So I just think that's ridiculous. Like, again, for us, we were doing this for free years and years ago before. And again, even then, I would never have thought then, if you'd have said to me, let's say 6 years from now, you'll be doing a podcast and you'll be talking about this now that you're
with Reece Fit.
Now that you're an online coach and you do this, like I'd have been like, fuck off, no chance. Like I wouldn't have thought that, So you, again, like what we were saying earlier, you've just got to start. So I didn't even think that was starting, but it was. I didn't even realize it was. Same with like posting on Instagram. I never started a fitness page thinking I want to be an online coach, or I want to be I want to be a famous YouTuber, or like I didn't, you know what I mean? It was literally just like, right, I just want to start documenting it, and literally just, I didn't even think about it. It was literally like, okay, I'm going to start doing this. So I did it. And again, that was like the start point, which you don't even really think of it as being. And then I was at uni, did my PT course, went and started working at Pure Gym. Obviously did one-to-one personal training, and then started doing a hybrid of one-to-one and online. Well, I was still doing online before, but again, like as this sort of went along, I wasn't helping out people for free anymore, obviously, because I was doing personal training. So if people wanted personal training, I'd like help friends and family PT wise. And then I started doing the two, like hybrid online and personal training. And then it got to the point where I was like, right, I've got a certain amount online. I was spending a shit ton of money on rent at Pure Gym. Plus there was the lockdown. So it was a bit, obviously I wasn't able to actually PT people. So yeah, I just ended up going full time online. I did a YouTube video on it. It's got quite a lot of views, not a lot. It's got like 5,000 or something, quite a lot for my videos. So if you're interested in that, go and watch that. And yeah, that's kind of how I did it. And then again, even then, I spoke to people about this before. I spoke to people about, in the first lockdown, I think like together we maybe had 20 clients.
Yeah.
Like, and people, I spoke to people about that and like, what? They're like, what the fuck? Like, they thought back then we had the same amount of clients we have now, maybe, but no chance. Like we were still trying to get somewhere. Like it's ridiculous to think that, but we were really. Well, I weren't struggling at all money wise or anything, were we? But we were still trying to get somewhere with it. It was still a hope of maybe one day I can take it online completely. So yeah, it is. It's quite a like journey, if you like, but again, I never thought during that, oh, hopefully by this point I can do this, or by this point I can do this. I literally just took it a day as it came and made sure that every single client received a really good service. I made sure that I was progressing my own knowledge and, you know, having a good routine to just keep working hard day after day. And then before you know it, it just keeps progressing. And then you get to sort of the milestones that you were maybe thinking about by just doing the day-to-day goals. It's like with your physique, if you like, you know, there's no point thinking, oh, I want to look like this one day if you're not willing to put in the day-to-day efforts to get to that long-term goal.
Yeah, your actions pretty much reflect your outcomes.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate, spot on answer. Genuinely, I don't really think I could add too much. Mine's fairly similar, pretty much the exact same regarding I didn't go to a pure gym to PT. So fairly similar. We've been quite lucky in a sense, like, because I both feel like we kind of not went on the journey together, but we almost kind of like held hands on like the come up, should we say. And it was never where like you started here and I was here, or I was above you at one point. It's always been quite like linear. So it's been nice where like I feel like we've said before, like in the gym, outside of the gym, we've always kind of buzzed off each other's work, and we're like, right, well, if you're doing this, I do this. And it's where like there's no competitiveness at all, and it's nothing but like love and kind of like in a positive environment.
It's literally
and it's like, this is what you do, this is what I do, and it's positive because we know that like I'm not going to slack and you're not going to slack. And it's where like we have that kind of external, like it's a very weird relationship when we actually break it down how we are, because it's not like we never ever compliment each other. It's very like, right, this is that and this is that, and then it's like, right, now we've got to do more. You've got to do more in the gym, outside of the gym. And you would imagine that could sound quite negative to some, because you'd be thinking, oh, well, you should just be chilling out and like being mates. But in reality, it's like, it's very positive and it's nice to
yeah, and
be
we
around.
do get that time to still chill out. Like,
yeah,
I see this as time where we actually get to chat a bit, because we rarely do outside of that of this. And then also, like, you know, if we wanted to, we'd be like, oh, should we go for a meal or whatever? Like, it's not. I think people also get it misconstrued that, you know, not just us, but I think people see bodybuilders and people who maybe talk about it, they think they're like 24/7, everything, and bodybuilding is my life. You know, I cannot.
Mate, I'm honest, I'd rather just chat about football. Like, I think my favorite moments of like our kind of existence together is like when we'd be on the drive to Ultraflex and we'd be chatting about combined football teams, and we'd be thinking, like talking about Ollie Gunnar getting sacked on the weekend or something like that. Would be like, I prefer that than thinking about, oh mate, you seen Brandon whoever on Instagram photo, yeah, he's looking ridiculous. Oh yeah, have you seen his quads? Like, we don't talk about that. Like, it's literally
we never like
football,
we don't message
chat.
each other, do we? Like, we never we'd never message each other about a bodybuilder that's posted something, or like, because you just don't. One, we don't really have the time to do that, but just got to focus on ourselves. I think people focus on other people too much. Like,
yeah,
just focus on yourself. Do what you need to do. If you've got time to be messaging other people and talking about other stuff that doesn't really involve you, or you don't have any relevance towards, I'd argue that you could be doing more. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, we've got a clickbait YouTube title now. Thanks, whoever asked that question, because we can say how to become an online coach, episode 25.
Perfect, mate. I always struggle thinking of them. I mean, the admin man, not me. The admin man that we've got.
The admin man. Yeah, the admin man, definitely.
Admin man that does all our work. He sometimes struggles with the titles, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Tom Luca, that's right. So yeah, right, guys. That is episode 25. Hopefully everyone's enjoyed. Usual outro. Appreciate all the questions, even though we didn't get around to 7 of them from Finn's and about similar for mine. We'll probably put the questions box up, so we've got some in order, but that'll be next Thursday. By the time you listen to this will be Monday, because I feel like we're going to be scheduling this Mondays. We said,
yeah, they'll come out on Mondays moving forward. Admin.
So when you guys are listening to this is actually shot a few days before. Questions are on Thursday, and then we're going from there on Monday. So again, appreciate all the story tags. Thanks to everybody who's listened. Only the people who have listened, and we were in their top 5 on Spotify. Everybody else on Spotify, step it up, listen to some
more.
Go
back and listen through all the old episodes.
Yeah. And then people who we didn't have as first, please just leave it on in the background. We want to be first for 2022 in every single person's podcast repertoire, should we say. So again, appreciate all the story tags. Likewise, all the support and questions. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode.